What's good, everybody? It's your boy JCG. Welcome or welcome back to the lounge. Alright, so this video has been a long time coming. It's time I do what I did with Tekken 8 back in January and give a retrospective slash review of what has become one of my most favorite fighting games of all time. Street Fighter 6. I've definitely made this game and Tekken 8 the two most talked about video games on my channel. So now it is for sure overdue for a retrospective. With Season 2 all wrapped up and everybody waiting for Season 3 to get revealed, I want to take a look back at where the game is at now, what I loved and didn't like about the game, what I think of the DLC so far, and lastly, what I want to see in the future. For this review, a lot of the footage you see will be my own gameplay footage recorded from my Xbox Series X. So, let me ask you all some questions. Are you new to Street Fighter? Is SF6 your first Street Fighter game? Are you a veteran like me and you have experience with the franchise? Are you not sure if this game is for you? Well, hopefully with this video, I can help answer those questions. How about we start off with this first? Because this is honestly going to be the shortest section of the video. As I mentioned in my Tekken 8 retrospective, fighting games nowadays are starting to once again put a focus on the single player aspects, like extra fun modes and story modes. Speaking of story, this game has a neat little adventure mode similar to something like Mortal Kombat Deception's Conquest mode back in the day. This mode is called World Tour, and it lives up to its name, because it really does feel like a world tour. You travel all around the world of Street Fighter, meeting iconic characters such as Chun-Li, DJ, Guile, Ken, Ryu, Honda, etc., as well as running into new characters like Kimberly, Luke, and Marissa. The best part about this mode is that you can create and customize your own avatar, and you can train under all these main roster fighters, as well as the DLC fighters, and use their moves in battle. You can literally go out into the streets and throw hands with other people, whether they be regular citizens or thugs, henchmen, who work for either the Mad Gear Gang or the Crows. I won't go much into the actual story, because believe it or not, I still have yet to finish this mode, and I don't think it'll be right for me to go into spoilers so far. I want you all to experience this mode for yourself, so I'll leave it there. But, to summarize, this mode is cool. It's very immersive, and you feel like you are part of the Street Fighter world. And I'm glad Capcom took the time to make it and put it in the game. Aside from World Tour, what else is there to enjoy in terms of offline content? Obviously, like all modern fighting games should have, there's the arcade ladder mode. Don't need to go into much explanation about that. There's also the standard versus mode, both local versus and CPU versus. The controls for this game, you have 3 sets. The classic arcade style, which requires a lot more complicated inputs for combos and specials. The modern style, which I use predominantly, are simplified controls that still require some directional inputs here and there, but you can do longer combo strings more easily by holding down right trigger and pressing X, A, or B. Or, if you're playing on PlayStation, you can hold right trigger and press square, X, or circle. And if you want to do specials, you can press Y, or triangle for PlayStation users, in any direction to do a certain special move. Like I said, certain actions, even in modern style, you can still do some directional inputs, but they aren't as tricky as they would be in classic controls. And finally, you have the dynamic style. I don't recommend this style to anyone unless you literally have zero experience in fighting games, and this is probably your very first one, or you just want to watch cool stuff happen in the game simply by pressing one singular button and hardly putting in any work. In other words, like I mentioned in this video I did on the topic back in 2023, these controls are literally baby's first fighting game. The game is playing for you at that point, so the skill level and the learning process isn't even there. Even if this is the first fighting game you've ever played, or at least the first Street Fighter game you've played, I still would recommend you start off with Modern, and if you feel comfortable enough to level up your skills, you can transition into the classic style. Easier control sets were in other fighting games long before SF6, but Capcom, in my opinion, set the standard for how a simplified control scheme for a fighting game should be. And I hope if any other fighting games in the future wish to do the same, they would take notes from Capcom in this game. As for the mechanics of SF6, I think there are other videos who can do a better job explaining how the drive system works in this game. I will at least say this: the drive meter is probably one of the better modern fighting game mechanics I've seen in a while. It's a good system and it makes you think carefully about how to use your character's abilities. What other modes do we have? Well, there's Extreme Battle, a fun little mode where it's essentially a versus battle, but there's some extra stuff added in. You can choose the rules and the gimmicks to make the battle more interesting and chaotic, like pushing the explosive in your opponent's direction, or having a bull run through the stage trying to trip you up. If you are like me, and you enjoy the single player stuff a fighting game has to offer more than the online modes, then you will be pleased to know that the offline content this game has is more than enough to keep you busy. So what can I say about the online content? I actually did try to go online for a match one time in the Battle Hub. However, this experience was not very fun. The match was very laggy, and I don't know if it was my connection or my opponent's connection. Because I know I got good Wi-Fi in my home, so maybe it was my opponent's. I don't know. But after that experience, I did not want to play matches online anymore. Maybe I'll try again in the future, but that one-time moment did sour the fun of fighting somebody from somewhere else in the world. I gotta get an Ethernet cable so I can do a wired connection. That being said, there is another mode you can do in the Battle Hub. The V-Rival area is for players who want to fight against an AI opponent that was created through analyzing other online player matches. It's kind of like playing a CPU versus match, but it feels like you are fighting a real person, and you can choose the rank that you want your rival to be at, to match your skill level. And like I mentioned, the AI rival is based on the data of real players from various online matches. I play this mode a lot. Much like with the Ghost Battle in Tekken 8, this is a good alternative for folks who may not want to go online and do matches, but still want to practice and even rank up their character. To be honest, there hasn't been a ton of major community dividing controversies like there has been with other games like Mortal Kombat 1 or Tekken 8. However, there have been some complaints towards this game. The main complaint that I have seen is the lack of costumes there have been for this game. We are going on 2 years of this game and we have only gotten one wave of new costumes for the roster. One wave. We're still waiting on wave 2. And all the while, Capcom has been giving us new outfit pieces for our custom avatars in the Battle Hub non-stop. Yeah, that's nice and everything, but how come it's taking them this long to put out new costumes for the actual roster of fighters? Hi, Editing JCG here. So, it appears that as I was busy taking a break from editing this video, Capcom actually released a trailer showing off 4 new outfits for the 4 Season 2 DLC. DLC characters for this game. So, yeah. I mean, it's not new costumes for the whole roster, but it's something. On top of that, while I don't know how everyone else feels about this, am I the only one who hates the way Capcom has been releasing DLC characters? They will release a character in the middle of the year every other month. Then they wait 3 to 4 months to come out with the next character. This season alone, Bison was released in late June 2024, literally a month after Akuma came out. Terry was released in 2024 in late September. And then we had to wait pretty much the rest of 2024 and all of January of this year so we can get Mai in early February. And at the time of making this video, we had to wait the whole spring, going straight into the beginning of summer, for Elena, who is dropping this week, early June. I don't want to rush the developers, but can we please stop with this long waiting game for new characters? Speaking of DLC characters, let's discuss the cast of bonus fighters we've gotten so far. Season 1 DLC was good. I've heard from some content creators that aside from Akuma, Season 1 wasn't very good in terms of the fighters we got. But I really liked most of Season 1. I mean, Aki wasn't very exciting for me, but I really did love the other 3 characters. Rashid, Akuma, and especially my boy Ed were the highlights of this season. Now, when it comes to Season 2, I did like the choices we got. The crossover with SNK characters is very much welcome. However, Terry was probably the only character that I kinda enjoyed playing a little bit. I never really got around to trying out Mai, even though her gameplay trailer did look cool. As for the other 2 characters from Street Fighter, I originally was not happy about Bison returning because, as you all already know how I feel about Heihachi from Tekken. I hated the fact that the dev team decided that instead of letting a new villain take center stage for this franchise going forward, for this game, it was newcomer JP. They instead chose to revert back to what worked before and resurrect an old villain to regain fan interest. Basically, they thought that a tried and true antagonist would be a right move for the series rather than being more confident in their new antagonist. And this isn't to say that new villains like JP won't have any significance in the future now that Bison is back. But what irks me is that JP, much like Reina in Tekken 8, was already being set up as a potential major threat for the heroes of this game within the story. And then Capcom just retconned their own lore and said, guess what? Bison is back! While from a story perspective, I don't like that M. Bison is alive, what won me over was his gameplay. I will say this. This is probably the best Bison has been gameplay-wise in any Street Fighter game. In SF5, he was really boring in terms of how he played. In this game, he's very fun and a lot more in your face. He almost feels like a Rushdown character. And Elena? Well, at the time of making this video, Elena isn't out just yet. But her gameplay trailer looked great, and I'm excited to try her out when she releases. Now, when it comes to future DLC fighters, there's not many that I want to see, but my top 4 choices would have to be Crimson Viper, Dudley, Shawn, and Oath. Alright, so to sum things up, what do I think of Street Fighter 6 2 years later? Well, folks, let me say it like this. I know I keep harkening back to Tekken 8, but I'm telling you, much like with that game, this game was the first time I was fully invested in Street Fighter. For the record, I always had some interest in Street Fighter before. I mean, sure, my time with SF5 did help me prepare for 6, and Street Fighter 4 was my first foray into this franchise. But I think my love for this franchise started expanding once I put a lot of time into 6. open world adventure mode to just the way the gameplay feels, how beginner friendly it felt, and not to mention the visuals, because presentation can be everything for video games nowadays, especially fighting games. Street Fighter 6, for me, is a game that can bridge the gap between the die-hard fighting game enthusiast, the casuals like me, and the newcomers who may not have experience with the genre. Capcom needed to regain the trust of SF fans after the launch of Street Fighter V was horrible. This game gives you everything you need right out the gate. So, if you are new to fighting games in general, I think this is a great place to start. And if you have some experience with Street Fighter in the past, but you weren't sure about this game, then have no fear. This is the best the franchise has been in a long time. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Tell me your thoughts below. What do you think of Street Fighter 6? How are you enjoying the game if you've played it? And what do you hope to see in the future for Season 3 and beyond? This has been your boy JCG. I appreciate you all. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to join the lounge for more discussions on fighting games and other cool geek-related topics. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here. God bless you all. I am out. Go play some Street Fighter 6. Deuces.